Have you found the perfect business name only to discover that the .com domain name has already been taken? Believe me, you are not alone, but the good news is it might matter less than you might think. Hi, I'm Bethan, one of the founders of TVAC, the Virtual Assistant company. And in this episode of the Virtual Assistant Conversation, we will be talking all about what to do when your ideal .com domain name has already been taken. For years, the .com domain name has been the most popular domain extension online. So naturally, millions of the best names have already been registered. Sometimes they're already being used, and sometimes, frustratingly, they are simply sitting there, owned by someone else, who is quite often trying to resell that domain name at a higher price. But before you panic, ask yourself this: how will people actually find your website? If most of your traffic will come from Google, from social media, from email marketing, or from online advertising or other sources, the domain extension itself might not necessarily be the most important aspect. So, what are your options? First, consider an alternative domain name extension. So what I mean by that is, for example, .co.uk, .co, .net, .org, .io. These are all widely used and accepted, and for many UK businesses, if that's where you're based, a .co.uk or .co can work just as well as .com. Second, explore some of the newer extensions available. So the list goes on, there are so many available, and things like agency, studio, .digital, .marketing, .online. In some cases, these could actually make your brand more descriptive or more memorable, depending on the industry you are in. Third, look at synonyms. So a simple word swap can completely transform your options. For example, instead of growth, you might use scale, and instead of assist, perhaps use support. A thesaurus can be a surprisingly useful branding tool and can be a bit of fun and help to get your creative juices flowing. Fourth, try rearranging the order of the words. If your business name contains multiple words, changing the order may simply unlock an available domain name whilst keeping the same overall brand. So just simply swapping the order of the wording around. Finally, one of the most effective strategies is to add an extra word. I will give you some examples. Words like group, studio, collective, hub, solution, creative, digital can dramatically increase the chances of finding an available domain name. For example, if instead of, let's say, joeblogs.com, if that's taken, try joeblogsstudio.com. You could try buying a domain name if it's already taken, but be careful. These can cost thousands, tens of thousands of pounds or dollars if someone already owns the domain name and is trying to resell it. So carefully think about, is that investment worth it, or is it a better idea to go with a different domain extension and invest that money instead in things like lead generation, customer experience, branding, marketing? Don't let a .com domain name stop you moving forward, and that really is the point of this episode. Your success will be determined far more by more business. So your marketing, your customer experience, your branding, and ultimately getting more clients and making more sales, rather than finding the perfect domain name that you had in mind. Something memorable that's easy to spell, easy to share, that's all you need. But most importantly, launch. Because building the business is far more important than chasing the perfect domain name that you initially had in mind. So thank you very much for watching or listening. I hope this has helped, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Virtual Assistant Conversation.